The film begins in New York during a time of war. Ava was watching all this from the window when suddenly a loud explosion ended everything right before her eyes. Then someone grabbed her hand and pulled her down towards the basement. There was chaos everywhere, with everyone running to save their lives. The person holding Eva's hand pulled her into a bunker. Once they arrived, a man pierced the bunker and sealed it with tape to prevent any radiation from outside from harming them. Outside, the continuous screams and cries of people could be heard. This bunker belonged to Makey and was built by him. As he had anticipated such a disaster, he tells the 6 people present there that if anyone tries to go outside, they would be reduced to ashes because the temperature outside had risen significantly due to the massive blast. If the radiation affected their bodies, they could become handicapped or even go mad. While he was still explaining this, there was another huge blast whose vibration shattered the ceiling of the basement. The situation outside was even worse. No one knew how long they would have to stay there. Upon hearing they might have to stay longer, a girl named Wendy panicked and insisted on going outside, but Mike threatened her. Everyone asked what they would do there. Mike said if they wanted to survive, they had to listen to him. He had been in a similar situation during the Nagasaki war. Eva and everyone else tried to contact the outside world, but their mobiles had no signal, and even if they did, it seemed there was no one left outside to respond. Among the group, there was an African-American individual who possessed a radio phone and persistently attempted to establish contact with someone outside, yet no response was ever received. They remained in that place for several days. The monotony of staying there became particularly tiresome for Josh and Bobby. They contemplated breaking the door to venture outside, but Mikey issued a severe threat to kill them if they proceeded, which deterred them from breaking the door. Josh had grown weary of the repetitive meals available there. He was so fed up that today he even tossed the food, which made Maker furious. No one knew how long they'd have to stay. If food ran short, they were still arguing about it when suddenly they heard noises from outside the bunker door. It sounded like someone was trying to break in. Everyone was happy they might finally get to go outside. 5 soldiers entered after breaking the door wearing protective suits as it was no longer safe to go out without them. These suits were essential to guard against radiation. It became essential to wear protective suits. When they arrived, they swiftly grabbed Wendy and injected something into her neck. Then they placed Wendy in a bag and began taking her away. Wendy's mom tried desperately to save her daughter, but all efforts were futile. 2 soldiers took the child, while 3 stayed behind. It seemed they intended to kill everyone, so the group united and killed those 3 soldiers. At this point, Wendy's mom was in a terrible state. She wanted to go outside herself. She wanted to. So she quickly gets up and tries to open the door while removing the tape. However, everyone stops her and locks her in a room because they know that if the door remains open for too long, radiation will come in and they won't survive. After resealing the door, they come inside to find the bodies of 3 soldiers. Seeing this, Maker said, "I think the UAE has attacked the US and now the people there want to eliminate the entire population here." Meanwhile, the Black American tries once again to contact the survivors outside with his radio phone. He makes an attempt, but Mikey intervenes and suggests that perhaps the adversaries have discovered our location due to your radio phone and we might be captured as a result. You ought to switch it off. Following his brother's advice, he abandons it. At this point, she proceeds to Ivadi's mother with nourishment and hydration, who was extremely distressed because of Wendy. Here, outside, everyone takes protective suits of the dead soldiers. 2 suits were damaged, but 1 suit was intact, which they could wear to venture into the outside world. Eva says, "I will go outside, find my army comrades and bring help." But they were not in favor of Eva going out because there was only 1 suit. They feared she would run away with the suit, so they decided to send Josh out instead, as one of his friends had been shot during a fight with the soldiers and was still there. They believed he would surely return to save his friend. Wearing the protective suit of the culture and carrying a soldier's gun, he steps outside and sees that tunnels have been constructed everywhere around the bunker. He travels through this tunnel and reaches a place where many people dressed in similar suits are working. It appeared to be some kind of lab where they were conducting research. Josh began to observe what exactly they were doing there. He saw that children were kept outside in the lab and many were confined inside capsules. All these children were unconscious, and among them was Wendy. Seeing this, he becomes somewhat emotional and attempts to rescue her, and this action causes the others present to realize that Josh is not affiliated with their group. Before they have the chance to capture and eliminate him, Josh hastily retreats back towards his bunker with people in pursuit, but he swiftly enters and they secure the bunker. Josh was in a dreadful state. He was extremely emotional and weeping. He informs everyone that there is nothing remaining outside. People are residing in tunnels to evade the radiation, and experiments are being carried out on children outside. Now, while sobbing, he looks at his mum and apologizes to her because he failed to bring her back. Thus, as he was saying this, they noticed someone welding the door of their bunker from the outside. This meant that their last hope of coming and going had been cut off. Mike was worried. He didn't know who these outsiders were or what they wanted. Well, a few more days passed. The soldiers they had killed still had their dead bodies in the bunker. As a result, the bunker was completely filled with the stench. If they wanted to survive here, they had to dispose of them. They dug a pit in the bunker itself and buried the dead bodies there. After disposing of the corpses, many of their problems the issue had been resolved. But with each passing day and week, new problems kept arising for them. Now they had run out of food. Many days had passed since they last ate. Eventually, Eva remembered that there was a room in the bunker that only Mikey could enter. No one else was allowed. One day, they secretly stormed into Mikey's room because they believed he must have hidden food there. However, there was nothing to eat or drink in that room. There was just a wall covered with numerous newspaper clippings. There was a family photo and mostly news about wars. They were surprised at how interested Mikey was in wars and why he lived alone in such a bunker. While they were searching the room, Mikey arrived and became angry with everyone, asking what on earth they were doing there. They all said they were looking for food. Mikey replied that if he had any food, he would surely have shared it with them as he had done before. He said he was just as hungry as they were, but no one believed Mike anymore. They decided that from now on, they would stay together with Mike in this room. Here, we see one day's mum. We see them quite close. In reality, she needed a companion to help her overcome the grief of her daughter's streak, and Josh was helping her with that. All that was fine, but for the rest of the people here, each passing day was becoming more difficult. The food shortage was troubling them greatly. Then a black marketeer came up with a plan. We see that he had a grudge because he was a security officer. He quietly went alone into Mikey's room with a gun and pointed it at him. He had noticed the secret door in Mikey's room and thought that behind this door there must be food. There must certainly be food behind this door. Perhaps he was indeed correct, as he was coercing him to open the door when Mike, with cleverness, swiftly snatched the firearm from his hand and killed him. The woman who had been trailing the black American observed the entire incident with her very own eyes and sounded the alarm to assemble everyone. Now, everyone was aware that behind this concealed door lay food, but when they requested the code from Mikey, he refused to divulge it. Consequently, they restrained Mikey to a chair and commenced torturing him. When Mikey became exhausted from the torment, he ultimately disclosed the code to the door, and it was uncovered that there was indeed an abundance of food behind it. They now possessed nearly a month's worth of food supplies. The issue was that the second location hadn't been reached yet, and radiation had started to spread inside, affecting their minds. In such a situation, Josh and his friend became very aggressive. They forced everyone out and took over the supply room to meet their needs and began to abuse the wax. There was only one boy whose condition was fine. Josh's brother, who had been shot but was recovering well, was helping Eva. They had kept Mikey tied up until now. The one who had provided them all with shelter, and that was Eva. He pleads, "Please, untie me. Believe me, I was going to tell you about the food, but everything happened before I could. If you don't trust me on that, let me tell you another secret. There's a gun in the supply room. If you want, you can take it. With its help, you can put an end to Josh and his friend's tyranny, and they will gain freedom from their servitude as well." The young woman did not believe in Maki, but she needed the gun. Therefore, she teams up with the boy who had taken her hand and brought her to the bunker. They planned that the boy will go to the supply room to get the gun while Eva distracts Josh and his friend from behind. Scene inside the room is shown where Josh and his friend have completely lost their minds. They have even cut their hair. They have gone so far as to kill Wendy's mom, and even after that, they are using her dead body. When Eva came inside, she She was terribly frightened upon seeing the situation. Before Eva could do anything or leave, they noticed that Josh was heading towards the supply room. To distract Josh, she started to attract his attention towards her. However, as soon as Josh crossed his limits, she pushed him away, which made Josh very angry. He attacked the young man and began to force himself on him. Meanwhile, we saw that Eva had also managed to acquire a new gun, which she took outside. Just as she stepped out of the bunker, she encountered Josh's friend, upon whom she pointed the gun. Josh was trying to harm Eva. In fear, Eva was shielded by Josh's brother, and at that moment, Eva's other ally held Josh's friend at gunpoint. The gun was still with that boy. Eva shouted loudly to kill Josh, but he panicked. He did fire the shot, but instead of hitting Josh, it hit Josh's good brother, who died on the spot. In panic, the gun slid from his hand. Josh quickly attacked Sneaker, and before he could do anything, Eva picked up the gun and aimed it at the man in front. Does she kill him by bringing him here? Josh had gone mad with grief over his brother's death, so he stood up in anger and killed Eva's companion. The one who had accidentally killed his brother also wanted to kill Eva, but Eva managed to escape in time and reached Mikey, freeing him to help himself. Mikey, once free, shot at Josh from a distance, and before dying, Josh set the place on fire so that Eva and Mike would perish with him. Now, the bunker was engulfed in flames. There was no way to escape, and then Eva remembered. Once, Mikey had told her that there was a way out of this bunker that led to the sewer. She quickly ran and grabbed a protective suit from the bunker and put it on. Before Mikey could arrive, Eva had already locked the door of the room they needed to escape from. Mikey kept knocking from outside, but Eva did not open it, and thus Mikey realized that his end had come. In his final moments, he remembered his wife and daughter. Everyone is shown the young woman who has successfully made her way out through the sewer line. She had managed to escape. As soon as she came out, she witnessed a terrifying scene. Smoke surrounded her from the widespread destruction. Pollution clouds filled the sky. The city lay in ruins, and she was completely lost on where to go. With this scene of devastation, the story concludes here.